Hey, so I'm gonna do a YouTube channel on homesteading, survivalism, um, living off the grid, things like that. We've been practicing for this for the last 4 years, and we just recently purchased our 15 acres, and with a about an 800 square foot, 100-year-old house on it. And I want to take you guys on our journey with us. This is this is something that we've wanted to do for years now, and this is something that we gained a lot of knowledge through YouTube videos, and so we kind of want to give back a little bit on, you know, if somebody else is maybe thinking about doing this. So we're not young people. I'm 52 and my husband is 60. And so, age plays a big factor in how this is going to pan out. The older you get, the more energy or the less energy that you have. The heat gets to us. As I'm sitting here videoing this, I'm looking at my thermometer and it's pushing, I don't know, 90 degrees. It's like 86 degrees outside and it is humid. It's miserable out here today. I had to take a break because I just was sweating so bad. So we purchased this property. We're currently living in our RV because the house is not livable. We have to do some work. We have to get the plumbing done. We have to get some floors replaced, things like that. And then from that point on, we could beautify it. So anyway, one of the things that I think that a lot of people, they watch these videos and they're like, oh, homesteading or, prepping, survivalism, living off the grid. Man, that sounds great. Get us out of the rat race. And, I got to tell you, there's a lot of reasons that people do this. We came here from Los Angeles. We're in Southwest Missouri. And we came here from Los Angeles wanting to get out of the rat race. That was our main reason for doing it. We couldn't make it in Los Angeles. We couldn't afford it. We couldn't, we were renting rooms in people's houses, and we had no personal space. And, there's so many regulations, government regulations and things like that there that, you can't catch rainwater, you can't put a garden in most places, it's ridiculous. So, we basically wanted to be unregulated and just come out here. And, the other thing too, one of our other factors was that, we started, our diets changed. We started, checking labels, reading labels, and what we were purchasing in the food, at the grocery store. And I'm here to tell you, like, I don't trust most of the stuff that's in the grocery stores, unless you're willing to spend an entire paycheck at Whole Foods or someplace. I just, I don't know, man. It just kind of started bugging me. And, I wanted to kind of go back to the old ways, the things my grandparents did. Grandparents for my generation lived to be, into their elder years, and they were in great shape. So I think that one of the keys to longevity is probably, your diet and getting plenty of exercise. And out here, homesteading and, working on farms and things like that, it's the fresh air and the hard work that we put into it here. And then two, we started watching a lot of videos on, not a lot, but a few videos on, prepping and survivalism and things like that. And we realized that if anything ever happens, like, we would be completely and utterly screwed in the big city, basically, and we felt that out here, and we chose our property wisely and carefully. We picked a place that we're, a few miles off of the local blacktop. We're also, pretty far out of town. We're 20 miles out of the closest town, and that town is only about 2,000 people. It's got one stoplight. It's literally basically a one stoplight town. So, so whatever your reasons are for wanting to do it, don't give up on that. Don't give up on your dream of getting out of the rat race, and getting, getting a piece of land and doing this. Something else I would encourage you, strongly to come up with a plan. Like, don't go off half-cocked on some stuff. What do you want to do for your homestead? Do you want to buy raw land and then build on it? Do you want to buy an already established, piece of property that has a house on it, or maybe even a mobile home? Outside of the city limits or towns, you're going to be on well water. Most likely. I know that's the case here in Southwest Missouri, is that once you get out of city limits, you have to be on a well. And so that was one of the factors that drove us to this place, was that it has an established well, and wells are not cheap. Our first go at homesteading, we did not have a well. We were doing rainwater catchment, and I have to tell you that come August and September, when the rains dry up and there is no water coming out of the sky, you're going to be hauling water in from a local source. And if your property's not near a local source, or you don't have a creek or a stream on your property, you're going to be going to find water in other places. It's going to be a tough challenge for you. And I speak that from experience. We've been there, we've done it. And it's not fun. And, water conservation, you can live several days, if not a week or more, without food. You cannot go that long without water. You have to have water. And, so that brings me around, back circling to choosing your property wisely. Come up with your plan. How much acreage do you want? What do you plan on doing with your acreage? Do you plan on raising food on it? And what kind of food? If you're just going to raise chickens and rabbits, you don't need that much space. Now, if you're talking about cattle, cows, milking, goats, pigs, things like that, you're going to need a little bit more space for that. So you have to choose your acreage wisely, and then if you're buying raw land, you have to take into consideration how much money that's going to take to clear that, because I'm here to tell you what I'm facing here on this property right now. We have 2 fenced paddocks on this property, and I can't even get into them. It's going to take me all the rest of this summer. It's just the first week of June now, all the rest of this summer and into next winter, and through next winter actually, to clear these paddocks, to be able to prep them to have pigs and goats here next spring. So, there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to take into consideration. And to be honest, I would sit down and write out a timeline too, timeline. What's your timeline like? How soon do you want to get out of the city? What's your finances like? Because if you're talking about drilling wells and building houses and, or building cabins, or even putting a tiny house on it, you're going to need some cash flow. You're going to need some money. You don't come at this without having your money in place, because you're setting yourself up to fail. Age plays a huge factor in this adventure too. If you're like us, you're in your 50s and 60s, you're probably going to want to buy an already established home, out in the country somewhere, and then do what you want with it. If you're in your 20s or 30s, or, even your early 40s, you can go the raw land route. You can, but just have the money. Have the money to, to do that with, because if you don't, it's going to be hard for you, especially the water issue, the well, and things like that. There's a lot that you can do to prepare yourself for this journey as well. Watch YouTube videos. That's what we did. We watched a ton of YouTube videos. We read books. We followed the homesteading and survivalism pages on Facebook. We learn a lot, through our digital community. We also have, at this point, we've established a community here of very like-minded people. We have gotten to know a lot of people here in the 4 or 5 years that we've been here, and we have established a community of people that all are on the same path as us. They all think alike. We pick each other's brains. If one of us is having a problem, we get a hold of each other and we go, hey, I've got this going on. Let's bounce some ideas or whatever. And, that helps. It helps a lot. Don't try to go it completely alone. Even if your community is only digital through YouTube and Facebook, that in and of itself is a fantastic source of information. So you're still living in the city, you want to do this, there's some things you can do to prepare yourself. If your city or your town allows it, raise a few chickens. Get used to being around the animals. Butcher some chickens. It's not for everybody. It's really not. Maybe raise a few meat birds in the spring and learn how to process them. Go deer hunting. Go deer hunting and process your own deer. And see how that works out for you. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you're going to be able to do? Because not everybody can do it. And, I know for me personally, I've been raising chickens now for 5 years, and I've had to butcher them. I've had an excess of chickens that I butchered for meat. It bothered me at first, admittedly. It did. It did bother me at first to kill them. However, I've gotten used to it, and I don't have a problem doing it now. Goats, we're going to be raising meat, goats, and pigs next year. The pigs we're going to probably have professionally butchered, just because the equipment and stuff like that. The pigs will probably have butchered professionally and cut up and vacuum sealed. And then the goat, I want milk goats, some breed of goat. I'm in the middle of doing the homework on that now, and that'll be a video down the line next year. Another thing you can do to get ready is establish a garden. Grow some of your own food, preserve that food as well. Learn how to preserve it. There's some great Facebook pages on canning and preserving. Canning is, don't be afraid to do it, because it's a wonderful way to preserve what you grow. Start with something easy like pickles. Grow some cucumbers in your backyard, or even on your patio. You can grow cucumbers on a patio and learn how to make pickles and can those. Canning equipment isn't that expensive that you can't do that. Wash some clothes by hand. If you're thinking about, setting up on raw land and it's going to be a while before you have a washer and dryer, get yourself a clothesline. Wash some clothes by hand. learn how to do that. You know, and you know, get a composting toilet if that's if that's in your plans. You can start out with a 5-gallon bucket and some pine chips and dig a hole somewhere to dump it in. I'm here to tell you, especially ladies, pay attention here, because if you're planning on doing that, it's a whole new experience for us girls, okay? You know, it's learn about composting toilets, learn about, you know, pooping in a bucket and having to get rid of it, and you know, how to do that sanitarily, and you know, because it's a little bit of a different thing. You know, us girls, we have our, you know, we have our monthly thing, and we've got to take that into consideration because blood draws predators and, you know, things like that. So I'm here to tell you, it's definitely something different, and it's definitely something that you might want to practice before you come out here and, you know, purchase land and you don't have some place to go to the bathroom. You know, it's the best year of my life that I've ever spent was when my husband and I lived in a little tiny cabin. You know, it was about 300 square feet, and you know, we were pooping in buckets and having to get rid of it, and we didn't have running water. We just did rainwater catchment. We learned what we were made of that year. And so pretty much anything after that year it's pretty easy, you know. My next video is probably going to be a tour of the property that we just bought, and what our plans, you know, what our intentions are with it. So definitely, you know, definitely hang out with us. And, you know, I don't know that much about YouTube, but I'm definitely going to learn. And I hope that you guys follow us on this journey, because I think this is going to be interesting for all of you that are thinking about doing the same thing that we're doing. Please like this channel and like our videos, and we'll get some more out to you. So I hope you have a good day. Thanks. Bye.